Hello everyone! I am Alice of KHR Arts and Cloud Orchid Publishing, and today we are going to talk about my experience at the Miskatonic Art Bazaar. So this was a nice, cute little local event at the Miskatonic Brewery, and this particular event was only like 15 minutes from me, which was amazing because usually the events are further away and I have quite the drive ahead of me, as well as this was an evening event, so I didn't have to wake up at the crack of dawn to get ready and pack the car and everything. So that was a huge win in my book for this event. And doing small local events is a really great way to really branch out and be a part of the community and grow your local fan base, as well as it's usually a low lift kind of event. This event was only $25 for me and Neal to participate, which also helped a lot. We've been doing a lot of really big events, a lot of really high-priced events, so having this be a little easier on the wallet was just such a breath of fresh air. I will say right off the bat, unfortunately, we only made one sale, so that was really disappointing. The other vendors said that their night was really slow. They also saw a significant decrease in sales from what they typically do at an event this size. I will say that the event was really not publicized. They didn't really make an effort to do any sort of advertising for the event. They didn't even have an event page on Facebook for it until like the last minute. And even then, they didn't have a list of the vendors that were going to be a part of the event on the event page. So that was really disappointing. I will admit also, I personally didn't do as good of a job as I could have with promoting that Neal and I were going to be at this event. I've been so wrapped up with working on Inktober, as well as we've just had so many events back to back, and it just kind of slipped my mind to put together the social media campaign for this. It was a couple of last minute posts that I made the week before, and so that's on me, but also the fact that the event itself didn't really do any promoting, I think, is what really led to there being such a small turnout to this event. My other main complaint about the event, I would say, is that they had like a barbecue station, like food station, because it was a brewery, so you know, it made sense, like, you know, barbecue and beer and stuff, which was really cute. The problem was the setup. They had the barbecue station like right at the front, and they had like the doors open. Fresh air was coming in, the weather was really nice that day, but because they set up the barbecue station right at the front, at the doors, all of the smoke from the barbecue blew right into the building and just basically attacked all of us. It was really bad. We felt really bad for this one vendor who had clothing. That smoke smell is just going to stick to that clothing, and they had an event the next day that they had to go to with clothes that smelled like a barbecue, and that's really not great for sales. I'm severely allergic to smoke, so days after that, the Sunday and the Monday after that, I was so sick. I was so incredibly sick from my allergies with the smoke inhalation. It was just very miserable, as well as it was just very uncomfortable. So, you know, they really should have thought that through, where they positioned that, and making sure that they kept everybody safe from that kind of smoke, because it was really intense for the first part of the event. Thankfully, they got some fans and we fixed it, but you know, it was kind of the damage had already been done. It was a slow event. We did have a few people that were a bit interested in Neal's stuff, specifically his tabletop gaming stuff. Nobody was really interested in our books, so that was really disappointing. But a big thing that Neal and I are working on this year year as well as for 2025 is that we are just trying out new events just to see what will happen, you know, throw things at the board, see what'll stick. I've said this in some of my other videos, you know, we've kind of gotten incestuous with our con circuit in that we just keep seeing all the same people, it's the same audiences, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the problem is when you've exhausted that audience, where like literally everyone has bought our books. Unless we come out with new stuff, nobody's going to buy our stuff when we go to these events. So it makes sense for us to expand our con circuit. You know, we're still going to go to the events that we always go to because our fans expect it, our friends expect it, and we enjoy doing those events. But we really need to, you know, infuse some fresh blood into the con circuit so that we can really make those sales, make those new connections, find new fan bases, stuff like that. And unfortunately, this event just wasn't it. It was great that some people showed interest in Neal's tabletop gaming stuff, but the fact that we only made one sale and overall people just didn't really seem interested in what we had to offer just really showed us, hey, you know, this is an event where, you know, book people are not, which is totally fine. It's just we won't be repeating this event, but I will say the positives, and these were huge positives for us, especially after dealing with all of the nonsense that we dealt with the previous event that we did, the big weekend event. The fact that load in and load out was super smooth, it was super organized, it was super easy. The way the parking lot was positioned, it was literally right there. It was literally, we just parked the car and walked, like, I have no concept of space, y'all, but it was literally right there. It was literally just walk across the parking lot and there's the building and you just walked straight in to the building and yeah, that was load in. They didn't have assigned spots, which was nice. Some of the vendors, you know, felt differently. Some people prefer assigned spots. Obviously, for like a big convention event, I prefer assigned spots because that can devolve into chaos really fast. But for like a smaller event like this, especially a pop-up where it's in a space that's not really designed for having like vendors, like the fact that we were backed up right against their brewing inventory. So we were backed up right against, you know, the beer barrels and stuff like that, the storage stuff that they have in this room. Like, you know, it's kind of a multi-use sort of room. And so the fact that people were able to just kind of pick a spot that they felt would best fit their table setup that they have, I feel like that worked out really great for us because there were a few other spots that I'm like, yeah, that wouldn't have worked for us at all. So I'm glad that we were able to kind of, you know, pick our spot and we were able to set up how we wanted to set up. I also loved that they had a person right there who was like, hi, this is how you do, I'm the go-to person if you have any questions. He was very awesome and told us, make sure after you do load in, go park your car, this is where you need to park it, like super helpful, super straightforward. It was very organized. Load out was also very organized. Everybody just kind of was like, okay, we're packing up, it's time to go. And everybody was just really calm, really organized, left in an orderly fashion. It wasn't like the absolute chaos that RafterCon was, where everybody was hot and pissed and just so done with the weekend. Like, even though at this event it was also very low sales, like it definitely did not have the same, like, we woke up and chose violence vibe that the other event had. This one was definitely very low-key, very chill. You know, I think everybody was just kind of like, you know, that was a little disappointing, but people still, you know, seemed like they had a fairly good time. They also offered a discount to the vendors. They were interested in having beer or eating from the barbecue. Neal and I chose not to do that. We went to Chipotle right before coming to the event and ate after we did load-in, which was also awesome that Chipotle was literally right on the way. And some of the other vendors were a little jealous. They're like, I wish I had gone to Chipotle beforehand. So, you know, that was kind of funny. We didn't partake. Neal doesn't drink. He just doesn't like alcohol. And I'm not a fan of beer. It was very nice of them to provide that discount, but it just wasn't really something that we took advantage of. I don't know if the other vendors did. It was very kind of them to offer something like that. Vendors are a big part of events, and to show that appreciation, you know, it does go a long way. We did have to do a modified setup for this because it was a smaller event, we've been doing these big events where we have a full like 10 by 10 booth, full like 5 to 6 tables. So this was only 2 tables. We knew it was going to be a smaller event, and that was fine. It was nice that we were able to have the 2 tables with the little L corner so that we could fit my stuff and Neal's stuff, because at the pancakes and booze events, we only had 1 table. We only had space for the 1 table. It was literally, there was no way we were going to be able to fit 2 tables in the space that we had, or any of the spaces that were available. And when it's a 1 table event like that, like there's only room for 1 of us, to be perfectly honest. Like at this point, we both just have so many books, and we just have so much stuff that we need to advertise, that really, in order for both of us to be able to vend, it needs to be at least a 2-table situation. Honestly, a 3-table booth would have been better, but we made it work. And this situation is also going to kind of grow with that, in that we probably won't be able to do small 1-table events like this for much longer, just because part of the reason why we're even able to squeak in at 2 tables is that unfortunately Neal is still dealing with all of the legality with the publishing companies that have been just passing him around like a hot potato, and him getting hold of the rights to his books, because as of right now, he's not able to get copies of his own books. Like what he has is just what he has on hand, and when he sells out, like we're kind of like, we don't really know what we're going to do about that. So it sucks that he's kind of in that state of limbo, that he just doesn't have as much inventory that he just doesn't really have, that inventory to offer. Behind the scenes, we are currently working on figuring that out, and once we figure that out, he's going to have all the inventory, just like I have all the inventory. So that's an issue that we're going to have to cross that bridge when we come to it, and figure out our new style of setup for that, which honestly is an awesome problem to have. Having too many books to put out is a great problem to have. And Neal is just such an amazing partner in that, and we like to joke that Neal is my Instagram boyfriend. He just does such a great job of helping me capture content for the channel, for my Instagram, just all of that stuff. He's always such a good sport about taking pictures and getting video footage. And as you can see, he did a lap around the vendor space with the camera, and I was really grateful for that, because it was kind of a 2 birds 1 stone thing, where he wanted to go and see what everybody had and say hi to everybody. And I have just been so burnt out from working on Inktober and working on everything, that I was like, I'm sorry, I just don't have the spoons to be people. Like, just being people at our booth is all I got for today. So he took one for the team and put the little chest camera on, and had that on while he walked around and talked to people. That was really awesome for him to do that, to be willing to do that. I know that there are so many people where they struggle with their partner doesn't want to support that. They don't want to support them going to events, whether it's they don't want them to do the events, or they don't want to do the events with their partner, or they don't want to help them with their social media, or getting content and stuff like that. And everybody has their own boundaries, and having boundaries is important, but it makes such a big difference when your partner is so supportive. And that's what I've really found with being with Neal, is that having a supportive partner who participates in your world with you and sharing that world together makes all of the difference. And I feel like we truly have become a power couple in that respect, in that I'm very ride or die. I want his books to be successful. I want him to be successful. I want us to build this publishing empire together. I want us to build our YouTube empire together. I want all of that for us. And that does confuse people a little bit, because all of that stuff that we have is separate. So I have my books, he has his books. I have my YouTube channels, he has his YouTube channel. And they don't have a lot of crossover, but you don't need to have that crossover in order to have that support for one another. Like, we're very intertwined with that stuff behind the scenes. And I feel like that's where all of that counts the most. Doing this event just really brought forth all those feelings for me. It really reminded me that it just makes such a difference having such a supportive partner in my life who's just really in it with me and just willing to go the whole 9 yards with me. So like this video. If you did, please be sure to give it a like. And if you're new, subscribe. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.